G'day and welcome back to more of The Collector, the series where every time I log on I'm not sure what I'm going to find and always a little bit worried that I'm not going to find anything. But all my stuff's still here, so we're all good, which means I can continue working on my ship. And I'm a bit annoyed. I think I should have put these engine modules, the thruster modules, just a little further away from the core of the ship if I was going to make them feel separated once armor and things like that go on. If it doesn't work out, I can always use a piston or something to push them apart and give myself an extra block. I think I'd need an extra block for them to work, but as I said, we'll fiddle with that as I go. What I'd like to try and do first here is get rid of all of the extra parts on this ship and move them onto my new ship. Things like getting rid of the basic refineries, getting rid of these cargo containers, and moving the batteries up. I think the first step is going to be moving the batteries up because I'd like to get them fully charged. My hope is I can use these batteries down here as the batteries for my miner. I don't know where the other two batteries are. I think they're somewhere around the rear end of this ship. I'll hopefully be able to merge them all together so that I can make them the power source for my new ship, since they're fully charged up and it feels like a bit of a waste to not use them. But let's get a few batteries up here first. So I made this kind of core line down here, and I think that's probably the best way to go. Something else I've been thinking about, which I should probably try and get done today, is set up a pair of timers. The reason I want two timers is I want something that's going to turn on and off all of the devices that I want to turn on and off each time I log off from the server. So each time I've been logging off, what I've been doing is I've been turning off the refineries, turning off the assembler, turning off the tanks, turning off the engines, changing the batteries off recharge and putting them to auto, turning off most of the thrusters but leaving a couple just for emergencies. I don't really know why I'm leaving a couple. There was a part of me that was like, maybe I should leave them for station keeping in case something weird happens, like maybe a little bit of clang happens when someone else goes nearby and the grids load in funny. I don't know. Maybe there's a reason. And one gyroscope for that same reason. Turning off the ore detector, all that sort of stuff. But I was thinking if I set up some timer blocks so that I've got that on a single button press and I know I'm not going to mess it up, I can make sure that I've got the right stuff turned off every single time and the right stuff turned back on every single time when I log back on. And the batteries put to recharge, all that sort of stuff. So I think that's going to be one of my goals today once I've migrated most of the stuff from this ship, because at the moment I've got a whole lot of blocks that I don't need. So if I can migrate them across, I'll be in a much better position to set up those timer blocks without having unnecessary blocks in the way. Man, I love having a proper assembler when making batteries. This was so slow when I made those few with the basic assembler. It was painful. Kind of impressed with myself so far. I haven't accidentally gone to use build vision yet, although that might be about to change because I've got to go and name a bunch of things, and that's mostly where I use build vision. Makes it so much easier to name the correct thing when you're renaming blocks. Well, let's move all the stuff across from all my old basic refineries and all my old cargoes into the new one. Then I can start breaking those down and not worry that I'm going to be leaving stuff floating about in space. Oh yeah, my stuff in the flight seat. Sadly, nothing in the flight seat to indicate where there might be a trading station that I could get, like, safe zone things from. I don't even know if that's a thing on the vanilla server. Alright, renamed my cargo container to have just CC in it so I can find it quickly, because I've got to clear out all these, and I don't want to use the build planner to drop stuff off, because I'm not sure how to put it in the right spot. I don't want to be constantly picking stuff up, but there goes all the small grid cargo storage, which is nice. Now, that's connected to something other than that connector, yes. Alright, let's get rid of these refineries. There's a part of me that's a bit sad I didn't just expand upon the existing ship that was here and instead went and built something completely fresh. But then there's another part of me that's like, well, I needed something a lot bigger than the original ship, so having something that was just the original ship was probably not going to work in the long term anyway. Alright, before I do anything else, now that I've gotten to the point where I'm looking at taking off these hydrogen engines and hydrogen tanks, in fact I can take off the tanks, can't I? Because they're empty. I need to think about where I'm going to put those on the main ship, because I haven't really left space particularly for them. Which again brings me to the I don't think I left enough room thing. Even though I was trying to, I don't think I managed it. That one is required for the link back to the other ship. Alright, let's have a look. Where could we put the power generation area? I guess this space at the back could be, and I could do as I was thinking, still put the jump drives forward, maybe even extend out quite a way forward for the cockpit. Yeah, we'll do that for now. This thing is probably going to get some remodeling. So, O2H2 gens and hydrogen engines are what we need. If I place one here, I don't have a conveyor port on the bottom, but I can place another one here if I link them in the middle. And then I can use some of the funky pipe things and do that. So if I start with that, then go to conveyor junctions in the middle here, then use T-piece conveyor pipes. These could look nice with more O2H2 gens off the back here. Yeah, that way. Then we can have hydrogen engines placed like this. One there, one there. One here, and same on this side. And fill in that gap with our conveyor pipe T-junctions. And then, because of these junctions in the middle, the top row on this side and the bottom row on this side will be piped up. So that's all fine. Now, what I'm going to put on the outside, I don't know yet. I'm not sure. I was thinking maybe I'd put the engines on the outside and put some more tanks on the inside. Actually, that might be a better way of doing this. So then I've got more internal space. So if I instead go like this, yeah, we'll do it that way. So then I can put an oxygen tank on the inside, or maybe a couple, because, you know, once I start using a cryopod instead of just letting myself die every time I disconnect, I might end up going through quite a lot of oxygen. Can't remember what the rate of consumption is from an engineer, but when you're talking, you know, 24 hours a day usage, it gets up there. Now I have done something that I was trying to avoid, which is I've got a 1-to-1 ratio of O2H2 gens to hydrogen engines. But because I've left that space on the inside, I can chuck a couple of O2H2 gens in there, and then I'll have, I think I'll probably do it so that I've got 10 to 8. So 10 O2H2 gens to 8 hydrogen engines. And then I just got to get the rest of this thing ripped up. And that should work pretty well, especially if my little mining rig ends up being effective. Yeah, we'll just go corner pipes. So we got a corner pipe there, 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 and there. And then O2H2 gen down the bottom, because that gives me cargo access internally. And then oxygen tank above that. Can I access all those blocks? I think I can. Yeah, I can. Cool. Alright, now I just got to weld all that up. And then grind it off on the other side. I don't think I've ever tried to build this many hydrogen engines attached to a ship before. I think it is bordering on excessive. But, again, it's because I think it's really advantageous to be able to charge up my battery super quick whenever I log on. Comes in really, really handy. Knowing that my batteries are always well charged. Depending on how the top surface of this ship goes, I may well put some solar panels around it as well, just for that extra bit of safety. I appear to be out of iron ingots. Where are my refineries at? Because I do still have some iron ore. That's good to be aware of. I'm actually starting to run low on the old basic resources. That's okay though. As I grind down the other ship, I will end up having enough, I think. I've been duplicating everything at the moment. I've not been taking from the old to build on the new. I've just been building on the new. Deliberately, because I like having a bit of an excess of resources lying around just for when they become required. Let's start grinding these ones down and using their parts. Oh, I just realised I don't think you can use stockpile to pull fuel out of a hydrogen engine. So I think I'm going to waste a little bit of fuel. Oh well. I'm sure I will find enough ice to make that up. And I'm sure that comment won't come back to bite me in the backside later. Alright, let's lose this stuff here. Oh no, parts! There were parts in that connector. This is what I was trying to avoid. Oh, there were a lot of bits in there. Oh, why?
Inventory full.
Oh wait, still got this hooked up. Oxygen tanks. Tank 2. Stockpile. Tank 1 is emptying. And I can grind it down. And I should move this survival kit before I get too far ahead of myself. I am just going to make a survival kit across here for now. I'd obviously really like to have a proper med bay over here, but the survival kit will do for now. The main reason I want the big one is because it is painful waiting for your suit to charge off the basic one. There we go. And don't face plant. And safe again. I'm just going to leave those tools floating there. I know I could break them down for a small amount of resources, but part of me likes littering space with junk. Especially when I know I'm going to get more of it. I'm a horrible, horrible person. Should be empty now. Yep. Okay. Now, if I remove these... Well, maybe I could leave the solar panels on there, actually. I'm thinking about how large a drill ship I can get away with here. And this thing isn't too much bigger than what I could handle. And if I keep it as is, I've got all the thrusters already built, and the gyro, and the batteries. So kind of my idea is this. Where are my drills at? We go with a drill here, a drill here, a drill here, here, and here. That way I've got my 5 drills, all nicely arranged. I could then do something with a cockpit off to one side here. Obviously, this is still going to have some troubles navigating because of these extra thrusters sticking out when I'm trying to drill through something, so I'm not going to be able to just drill straight through something, but with it this much shorter, it's going to be a lot better. And what I may do is actually, I might ultimately get rid of these solar panels at the back here. Certainly get rid of that. But if I got rid of the solar panels and I got rid of one of these batteries, this would be a pretty compact little large grid mining ship. Now let's have a look. Cockpits. Which cockpit do I want to use? The industrial cockpit has the cargo on the top, so I could underslung, like put it underneath. Part of me wonders if I could do the drills like this, actually. There and there. Ooh. This could be nice. Then I can put a cockpit down here. Oh yeah. I can see this working. Do I have room to make this work? Yes, I do. So if I wanted to, I could put an oxygen tank in here. I don't think I'm going to need to have an oxygen tank aboard this. I don't think I'm going to use it for such long periods that I would run out of the air inside the cockpit and inside my suit. So instead, what I think I'll use that for is a few small cargo containers. So we have cargo, cargo, and connector. That should do it. It's got batteries. It's got a gyro. Oh, it needs to have an ore detector. Where shall I put the ore detector? I was going to put it underneath here. This spot. Just behind the gyro. Little nugget of a mining ship. Kind of like it. Yeah. Alright. That actually came together a lot more quickly than I thought it was going to. But I'm kind of glad that I get to keep some of my original dropship, spawn ship design here. I was a bit worried that I was going to be getting rid of all of it. I've got to grind these off so I can get at the other box inside first, though. I reckon this is going to make mining so much better. It's going to be weird having the cockpit at the bottom, but I think it works. I think it'll work out okay. And I wanted to make sure that the cockpit was piped up, because I would like it to fill with oxygen at least when I'm connected to the main ship. So at least the cockpit is carrying some oxygen. It's always annoying when you're out using your secondary ships and you run out. So I'd prefer to avoid that if I can. Oh yeah? This isn't a bad position. Oh, and because I've left this spot in the middle, I could put a spotlight right here central, as well as one up here and one over here, which should give me a good bit of light coverage without them being too far out of line with the drills. One of the major downsides of trying to build this so compact is that I'm going to struggle if I want to use event controllers to help me set up an automated attach and detach sequence, like for putting the batteries on recharge, turning the thrusters on, that sort of thing. I've got kind of one spot here I could put it in. Still going to leave that one with a cargo container for now, though. I guess once I put spotlights on the front there, I could put a an event controller either side of this connector. In fact, I'm going to do that. Don't know if I'll end up properly using these, but they're there. So I'll see if I can set those up to do what I need them to do. And then let's get a pair of lights on here. One there, one there. We have A little mining ship. Might just put a regular... Ooh. Part of me wants to put a spotlight in the middle here, and part of me wants to just put a regular... Oh, I'll put a light panel there. That's what I'll do. So as part of me was wanting to put like one of the conveyor cover, hatch cover things. I think that'll work well. Ooh. Ow. Don't know where I need to have the connector yet, but I'm just going to stick it on the end of this stalk for now. Ugh. That will put that ion thruster right smack bang on that hydrogen tank. Not exactly ideal. I will have to be very careful to make sure that is turned off. Okay, so what we need quickly is the batteries, minor batteries, in a group, name the connector, oh, and the thrusters. I also just realized I built an automaton timer block, not an event controller. I was meaning to build an event controller. I will replace those. Those lights can turn on with a big radius so I can see more as well. And then I need to name the give the thrusters a group. Minor thrusters. Okay, so we have connector, then we go groups, minor batteries, recharge on and off, and minor thrusters, toggle on and off, and then we'll have reverse thrust over here, and then we have our block tool, yeah, and we're good. Oh. How did I build that drill not connected? How did I even manage that? I'm perplexed. I don't even know how I managed to build that without it being part of the same grid. That's truly bizarre. I must have disconnected it when I was building the other bits. Oh, very strange. Anyway, we'll fix that. Okay, the other thing we need is the ore detector on and off, which I need to finish before I can add to the hotbar. Ore detector goes here as part of my docking sequence. I vaguely remember there being some ice around here when I came through, so I'm going to just check and see if it's just cobalt and magnesium or if there is indeed some ice, because it would be good to collect some. Oh, it feels so much nicer moving this around, moving around the whole ship. Means I can scan these asteroids so much better. Don't need to do it in my suit now. Obviously moving this is considerably more power consumption, but still. It's just cobalt and magnesium. That's magnesium. That's ice. There we go. Thought I'd seen ice on the way in. Oh, there's not a lot of it. A lot of it at all. Is it just that tiny, tiny bit on the surface there? I think it might be. Oh, that's sad. That's very sad. It's very disappointing. It's not even showing up on the ore detector anymore. Alright. Let's see if there's another deposit somewhere on this asteroid that's got a little bit more, because what did I even get out of that? I got like 2,500, that's it. Oh, so disappointing. I feel like I got ripped off. Oh, there's more ice. There we go. Please be a bigger deposit this time. It's funny, I think the extra maneuverability of this is actually going to be to its detriment in terms of me getting overconfident and crashing it as a result. Now, compared to my small grid ships, this is lacking something that I typically do put on a mining ship, which is some sort of ejection system to get rid of stone, since you don't really need to bring stone back all the time. But I'm just going to accept that that's how it is. I'm not going to worry about it too much. Refining a bit of stone isn't so bad when I'm in a situation where I don't know when I'm next going to find some iron. There isn't exactly a particularly practical way of dealing with that with a ship this size either. I would have to get rid of some blocks somewhere to put in a sorter and another connector to eject out of. So I can't think of a way to put more sorters in this system to allow that connector to eject just stone without it taking away some other benefits that this has. Alright, those drills full. They look pretty full to me. Alright, so that just collected me about 340,000 kilos of ice. Now I just gotta find my ship. I need to remember not to fly too far with this. At some point, if I get overconfident with people not having found me yet, I may put a beacon on my ship just while I'm playing. Something that's set to say 400 meters, 500 meters. So you pretty much have to have spotted me anyway to be able to be able to see the beacon broadcast. But at least it'll help me in these environments to find my ship more quickly. Especially with my notorious sense of direction. I'm going to the wrong side of this ship because I flipped my orientation. Alright. Connect, recharge, ore detector off, and thrusters off. I should probably turn the spotlights off too. Which way's off? It's really hard to tell when the sun's on them. Sweet! I have my mining ship built. I haven't yet finished this side of the O2H2 system, but that shouldn't take long. Once a bunch of this ice is processed into fuel, I can probably move the whole lot over to near that ice deposit I'd started mining, mine the rest of it, and try and fill up the tanks. So it would be very nice to have some full hydrogen tanks, I think. 10 O2H2 gens, 8 engines, 2 oxygen tanks, all built, all ready to go. I reckon that looks alright too. Not sure how I'm going to make this space in here work. I might try and make it airtight, or I might not. I'm not sure at this stage. But I should be able to do it either way. But I feel like it's kind of... I've always enjoyed a slightly compact ship where you kind of walk through the industrial machinery as you progress through the ship. Okay, I need to make sure I turn all of the batteries on the ship to recharge while we're running all those engines. The reason being is when I connect up with the miner and set those batteries to recharge, they, if the engines can't put out enough charge for them, will try and draw charge from these batteries. And they do that at less than 100% efficiency. You lose about 20% of the power when you transfer it from one battery to another. So what I don't want to do is transfer power from one battery to another, which means if all of the batteries are on recharge, that won't happen. It'll just be the engines providing the power. Now, let's have a look at the engines and see how they're going fuel-wise. They're all slowly going up. Cool. How's our ice situation? 173,000 in there. Okay. And 40,000 in a small cargo container on board the mining ship. Oh, 70,000 actually. That's not bad. And the refineries, processing cobalt. Let's get rid of some of that stone. Cool. Alright, that's a good step. Now, do I try and move the whole thing with the ion thrusters, or do I try and build a quick cockpit? I think I'm going to shove down a quick cockpit onto the main grid over here. So obviously where that survival kit is not going to be a survival kit. There's going to be, let's put it down in something like hazard yellow, just in case I weld it up, that way I'll know what it is. This is going to be a jump drive here. I should probably get rid of the block that I put in front of the survival kit. So at least a pair of jump drives occupying that spot there, and the same on this side. And I'm looking at the size of the ship, and I think I may end up putting more jump drives along the top here, say, you know, something like this. I want to see how that's going to look with that sticking up 2 blocks high. 1 block would be fine, but 2 blocks might be a bit much. I don't know. I think that could work. We could have 4 jump drives if I put them sort of like this. Just closing those ends so I remember what I was doing this for. I think I can probably make that work. It'll give me more of a bulbous area at the front to work with in terms of a cockpit. Alright, we'll leave that for now. Happy with that there. I want to continue this conveyor line into the cockpit so that I can pressurize it. We have a vent in the floor. Let's get the reinforced conveyor tubes. That way. Alright, and then I'll just build a control seat up the front here. I don't want to build a cockpit, I want to build a control seat. And I'm going to build the one that I always build because it's the one that I like the most. This is inconvenient. Got rid of my cargo access. Control seat, down here. It's got some Enterprise vibes to the shape that I've gone with, but that's alright. Could be worse. Let's hop in and set up a few things. I need to have the hydrogen thrusters all in a group. I don't have a name for this ship. What shall I name it? It's looking a bit fat, so I'm going to call it the Porpoise. Porpoise thrusters. It's fat and it's white. I think that's where I was coming from with that. Those can be... yeah. Put one off. And we're going to want reverse thrust, so thrusters again. Porpoise, reverse, thrust. Alright, cool. And I'll set up timer blocks to do all the other stuff with turning things on and off. That's pretty much all I need to have, I think. We have 4% hydrogen. Oh, this is not going to be able to get far. But where was that ice? I think it was around... Which side was it? I might do, instead of flying with that first, is I'm going to go and find the spot with the ice and then park there and fly back and then bring the big ship too. Oh good. It's embedded in, which means there's a decent sized deposit here. Surface ones are usually less. So my goal here with the ice is collect enough that I've actually got some in the tanks, because if I'm going to be using the hydrogen thrusters on the big ship, I really do need to have some in the tanks. So I may be stuck here waiting a while until everything's full, but I think it'll be worth it. And it's going to make the search for gold a lot more peaceful. Well, a lot quicker. Oh, where'd my thruster sound go? Weird. It'll make it a lot quicker if I'm not having to worry about accelerating with just ion thrusters and braking with just ion thrusters. That'll do. Let's pop out and we'll go grab the big ship and bring it to this. Oh, that's a lot of scraping. Let's take that corner off so I don't do that again. Let's angle over this way. Turn off my reverse thrust. Give myself a little bit of a push. Ah, so nice having proper thrusters. Makes such a big difference. Up to 8% hydrogen. How much of the engines got in them? Oh, the engines are full. Okay. Tank. Industrial hydrogen tank. 6%, both at 6%. Oxygen tanks are full. Cool, alright. Nice. With the way I've got this connector arranged, I could put a sorter on there to try and pull stuff out of the mining ship automatically, but I don't think it's really all that worthwhile to do. Let's go inventory, cargo containers, and let's go this ship only, and chuck everything across. And I'll go collect another load. And because I've got such a huge amount of cargo now, I can probably just mine all this ice and then leave. I don't have to hang around anymore. Part of the reason I hung around on the previous ones was because I was like, well, I need to process some of this before I move on. In this case, I really don't need to. I just need to get all this ice that I can. This is another point where I miss my mods, miss build info having its little fill meter above the personal cargo fill meter. Yeah. One of my drills is full, so I'm going to go back. So I'm just going to do this a few times, and then I'll head off. I may even decide to build those other thrusters before I fly off. So that I've got better braking ability in every direction. It's probably not a bad idea. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Oof. Oh, I thought I was going to break the connector and my ship at the same time then. I'll admit there's a part of me that feels a bit uncomfortable getting all my power from breaking the laws of thermodynamics, but... oh well. Oh, I have entirely filled a container with ice. I've got over 1.3 million kilos. Not too shabby. I don't know how much it takes to fill a large hydrogen tank. One would think I might by this point, but I don't. So I don't know how much more to get. I'd like to get my tanks pretty full. Make them as explosive as possible. Let's see how the tanks are going, actually. They're not filling particularly quickly. I might need to add some more O2H2 gens, or... I was going to say or turn off the hydrogen engine, but I don't think that's going to work. Why do they still have such high output, these hydrogen engines? Oh, the refineries. That's why. Now that I'm using hydrogen for thrusters, I'm a little more nervous about just going, it'll be fine, I've got plenty of fuel. I do, of course, have this ship as a backup way to move if I've only got power left over and I've run out of hydrogen. So that's not the end of the world because I've got these ion thrusters, but still, it's making me much more cautious about how much fuel I'm going to leave this place with. I'm also aware, I haven't moved in ages and I'm supposed to be traveling, trying to, you know, cut down that 246,000 kilometer distance. And I have not done any of that in quite some time. And that makes me edgy. Makes me want to make progress. I mean, admittedly, I may not have made any distance gains, but I have made a lot of ship gains. Even though it kind of doesn't really look like much of a ship yet. On the other hand, this thing does. but most of that I didn't actually build myself. I think Aragath designed these. Can't take any credit for it. One of the things that I think is going to be tricky once I start collecting clones to keep in my cryotubes is supplying them with enough oxygen and power. I'm hoping by that point I'll have uranium and reactors, so the power side of things won't be too much of a problem. But it is going to mean that I'm going to need a lot of oxygen tanks, and to keep collecting ice for the oxygen as much as the hydrogen. Which is kind of cool. And something I'm actually really looking forward to is seeing whether that actually becomes a significant engineering thing, or at least collection thing, because it's not really any new engineering, it's just keeping a tank and collecting ice. But still, I'm intrigued to see how that goes. Full up, this is the last load of ice. I think I'll have almost 2 million kilos on board the ship after this, so that's gonna have to do, because it's also nearly my cargo capacity with those 3 large cargo containers. At some point you just gotta say, yeah, this is enough for now. I can collect more in the future. With that much weight though, I am going to build those extra thrusters before we move on. When I find my next asteroid that I want to stop at, then I might start construction of my cockpit area. Try and get a cryotube down and a medbay. That'd be nice. Alright, thrusters all added. Let's move on. Where it began, 49 kilometers away. That is all I have traveled so far. Which is really not far in space. I'm going to need to add an extra gyro to this thing. It does not handle like a bistro. Alright, that asteroid over there looks good enough. Let's head over to it. Or I'm not heading straight at it. Let's head on the light side, because it's better. Oh yeah, that's some more speed considering the weight of this thing is already 3.3 million. I've kind of got 2 options with the way that I move between the asteroids given the latency I've got, which is high. I can either try and move quickly between the asteroids, or try and move so slowly that with that latency I can still build. Unfortunately, I discovered during the last recording that even moving at 10 meters a second was fast enough that I was getting desync problems. So I am now going to go with more speed, which means more fuel used. But still, more speed. And you know what? Let's use even more speed. It's just a much more pleasant building experience if I build while stationary than if I build while on the move. So at this point, there are 3 things I'm looking for. Gold being the main one, because I need that for the jump drives. And platinum, so that I can get some ion thrusters on the main ship. And uranium. I'm probably going to need to find silver again at some point, because I don't know that I've got quite enough for all the things that I need to use it for. That's not really going to be a problem until I get that gold. Alright, let's come to a stop. Ah, yes. Big braking thrusters. I like it. Okay, I can stay there. I'm going to take the mining ship across and do some scouting. See if I got anything good here. Maybe, if I've got something good, before I move on, I will replace these timer blocks with event controllers like I said I was going to. Try and set up an auto dock. Got nickel. Got more nickel. Don't think I'm going to need to mine any nickel. I think I collected enough before. This thing's quite nimble when it's empty. Got anything except for nickel. Oh no! Oh no! No! This thing's quite nimble when it's empty. Oh no! Oh, that's tragic. I'm dead in the water. Ah! Oh, no! I did not mean to accelerate that hard. Poop. Well, I think I'm going to go with a small grid mining ship in the future. Oh, that can't be deposited because that's broken. Have I got any of the cargo containers on this intact? The one behind above the cockpit should be. Oh, that's tragic. I was loving this little ship. It was so good. Did I even keep any thruster components? I did. Good. So I've got enough thruster components here, hopefully, to be able to build up a small grid ion drill ship. Oh no. Oh, that makes me real sad. So I'm just going to grind what I can into this cargo container And then I'm going to take what I can from the cargo container and put it on my ship. The important stuff, obviously. The thruster components being the important stuff. Everything else is kind of irrelevant. I'm lucky I still had power on this. I just felt it lurch and then instantly knew this was going to be bad. Didn't have time to turn my drills towards the wall to make them take the brunt of it. I really liked this ship.
Inventory full.
I just have absolutely no way to rebuild it. Alright, let's grab the thrusters. Where are they? Oh, why did I go into that hole? Alright, one more trip and I'll have all the thrusters. All the thruster components, that is. Oh, nuts. Oh. Alright, that's all the good bits. I might bring the ship over this way and see if I can grab some of the other parts. But at least I got the bits containing platinum. Stuff that I can't easily replace right now. I definitely don't have enough platinum to build a large grid mining ship. So it will be a small grid one, and hopefully doesn't come to the same fate. Oh, I know what I want to do. For each tragedy along the way, I will create a GPS, or each notable event. I suppose the launching of this ship would be a notable event, but I might do it when it's complete, rather than when it's a scaffold. But I'm going to create a GPS saying where the miner crashed. Because I think it's a bit of fun. Oh. /GPS. Where the miner crashed. The downside, of course, of making a small grid miner is that a small grid miner is going to have a small grid ore detector, which is not going to do as good a job of scanning as this would have done. I do this to myself every time. I was complimenting how nimble it felt, how well it was piloting, and then blammo. All of the blammo. Makes me kind of glad I collected all that ice, though. At least I maximized my goodies out of it that little bit. I literally got to mine one deposit with this miner before I destroyed it. I really hope the next one survives longer. Oh. Oh. That's what I'm thinking. So the reason I crashed the miner was because I was using it as a scout. If I have a separate scout ship to a mining ship, at least the thing that I want to move quickly with can be made cheaply. So I could make just a little ore detecting scout. And then I could go for a hydrogen powered miner, although it does worry me a little bit. If I could see how I go with a single small hydrogen tank with a large grid mining ship. Yeah, I might build two ships. Ion powered scout, hydrogen powered miner. Well, good night mining ship. You were briefly, incredibly... Oh wait, there's more of you. I'll eulogize you once I've gotten rid of that bit. You know what, that'll do. I don't need the other steel plate. It's gone. The miner is gone. I had it for such a short period of time. I can't believe it. Literally, its second proper journey. Its first proper scouting trip. And I stuffed it. I'm going to choose to blame latency because I do think it had an impact. But I should have been aware of that. I should have expected that to play into it and been more careful. And I wasn't. And I paid for it. So, next time, I'm going to rebuild a new miner. Again. Except this time, I am going to make a little scout ship out of the ion thrusters and a large grid hydrogen based one and see how that goes. So there's all that and plenty more to come. And I will see you then. Hopefully, my miner will see you for more than one episode too.